This is the fourth book in the series Tales of Montague Dragon, The Fire. If you're patient and listen to my story in rhyme, I'll take you back on a journey in time. Etched in an oak tree you may see a face. It's where Montague's next great adventure takes place. Deep in the wood on a warm summer's day, Montague Dragon was dozing away, though out of the midday sun as a rule, for inside his cave he could always keep cool. Meanwhile, down by the river that bends was the green warty toad with one of his friends. Taking a swim was his daily habit, with his vain companion Burrows the rabbit. While Toad splashed happily in the river, Burrows admired himself in a mirror. He thought to himself, "Oh, don't I look grand? How the bunny girls resist me, I can't understand." He always had to look his best, be that much grander than all the rest, combing his whiskers, sharpening his claws, fluffing his tail, and cleaning his paws. But the warty toad's patience was now wearing thin, as he waited for Burrows to join in the swim. So under the water, Toad silently swam, to teach him a lesson with his crafty plan. Out of the river on toady tiptoe, he sneaked up to Burrows while still keeping low. Then jumping and shaking himself all about, he soaked the young rabbit. Oh, how he did shout! So angry the rabbit chased Toad from the river, but trying to catch him, he dropped his fine mirror. Unaware of his loss, he tracked Toad through the grass, while the rays from the sun got to work on the glass. The mirror reflected the rays to some fern. This magnified heat caused the dry shrub to burn. Quick to notice this threat to the wood was a family of mice who fled fast as they could. As the grey smoke rose and the fire quickly spread, Montague Dragon stood scratching his head. He'd woke from his nap and was outside the cave when a column of smoke in the woods caught his gaze. To our friendly dragon, fire was no stranger, but in this situation it presented great danger. Other woodland friends soon arrived at his home. Some came in pairs and others alone. Wallace the Badger and his cousin Sims stood splashing each other to cool down their limbs, but Flurry the Hedgehog, in no time at all, became so afraid that she curled into a ball. Betty and Doris did not seem amused. They stood near the cave and looked quite confused. "Oh, Montague, what do you think the smoke means? Is it better for us to return to the stream?" Monty replied there was no need to worry, though he had to be ready to fly off in a hurry. Basildon Hare wrote notes in his book, but writing so fast had no time to look. Needed to put his concerns to one side for a story to tell both far and wide. As the smoke quickly rose from the valley below, out of the woods flew Pincher the Crow. "Is everyone safe?" he said in a splutter, while the smoke in his eyes made him crash in a flutter. Montague thought of the toad and the rabbit, and remembered a midday swim was their habit, so with no time for even a farewell wave, his other two friends he flew off to save. Deep in the wood, now huddled together, they wished for rainy, unseasonal weather. As the flames drew closer, they crouched by an oak, and were soon wrapped up in a blanket of smoke. Monty flew to the river where he drank and drank. Meanwhile, Rabbit and Toad's hopes quickly sank. They could feel the heat as the flames drew near. Any hope of rescue would soon disappear. Then out of the sky fell huge drops of rain. Monty had come to the rescue again. Instead of fire coming out from his nose, a great stream of water sprayed out like a hose. Very soon after, the flames were put out, and who was the hero? There was little doubt. Burrows and Toad then returned to the cave and told how their dragony friend was so brave. While Betty and Doris returned to the river, Burrows recalled the loss of his mirror. Though for once the rabbit did not moan, he remembered he'd many spare mirrors at home. Monty remained in the woods to make sure all flames were put out with no risk anymore. Pincher was helping and scanned from the skies when he thought he detected the faintest of cries. Now hearing is not something top of Crow's list, for such a faint sound could easily be missed. So it was indeed a fortunate day that Pincher heard crying sounds coming his way. He flew down to Monty and both went in search, observed by some magpies sat high on a perch. Soon an amazing sight took both by surprise, as the old mitre oak tree confronted their eyes. All they could do was just stand and stare, for this part of the woods was now scorched and bare. While all around looked bleak and grey, the oak tree appeared like the first day of May. It was standing up straight, its leaves fresh and green, a remarkable sight in this desolate scene. The magpies flew down to share in this view. The fire hadn't touched it, yet how, no one knew. The muffled cry came from inside the tree.
"Is anyone out there? Oh, please set us free."
Monty could see a small hollow inside, almost full up with acorns, so he brushed them aside. A short, rounded nose poked up through the middle, solving part of the mystery to this woodland riddle. First one, then another, with squeaking galore, popped up their heads and soon followed by more. A family of mice had climbed into the tree and covered up with acorns in search of safety. Monty with care placed each on the ground, almost deafened by their wild squeaking sound. They each thanked the dragon, then scampered away, so happy to have survived this frightening day. Yet Monty was puzzled why the tree hadn't burned, and finding no answer thought, I've still much to learn. Though some time in the future he'd solve it, no doubt, as the tree seemed to whisper, yes, one day you'll find out. They headed back home, made their way to their beds, as the story of Montague's bravery spread. A wonderful ending for Basildon's story, our hero the dragon now covered in glory. Though Monty was modest and avoided attention, without him knowing he still got a mention. For in memory of our dragon's fine deed, a woodpecker carved his name in a tree. On the day when you're walking alone near a thicket, you better look closely, or else you may miss it. Dragon books are easily found on shelves in bookshops all around, but of all the dragon adventures you're told, Montague's stories will